own voice with me, Amanda Murray and Grant Morrell. Grant, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you very much, Nomsa. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Grant Morrell. I'm an international speaker, coach, trainer, and an international best-selling author. Over the last 19 years, myself and my international team have helped thousands of entrepreneurs, business owners, and organizations across 15 countries to increase their profits by up to 200% in just a few short months. Essentially, working with a team, the systems, the mindset, and the strategy so that they can live a life without limits and clearly communicate their message with the world. Amanda.
My name is Amanda Cottrell. I am a teacher, an author, and an illustrator. My middle name is Marie, but I go by Amanda Marie on Facebook because of my job. I help people find their own unique creative capacities within themselves. And I write children's books on mindfulness. And I'm also working on a couple of collaborative books that I'm really excited that are coming out soon as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. So our topic today is your vibe attracts your tribe. So who are you surrounding yourself with? So we're gonna be discussing this today, and basically there are some people that would rather stay in a negative environment, even if it's not good for them, it's not good for their health. They are like, I don't want to upset this person. They have so many excuses that they have created, but life is a choice. We all make choices in life. We all make choices of who we hang out with. I know it may sound really bad, but sometimes if you want to become who you want to become, you have to surround yourself with people that can help you to become who you want to become by having principles and values that you live by. So we're going to be discussing all that. I'm going to come with you, Grant. So how does, actually, Amanda, you chose this topic before we go.
Oh, Nomza, you cut out there.
You're muted.
Okay. Okay, so this topic is one of the topics
Can you hear
that
me?
I'm working on. Yeah, now I can, yeah.
Oh, yeah, can
Okay.
you explain to our audience the topic, please? You've chose this topic, and
Yeah, so I have a list of topics on a workbook that I'm working on for a course that I want to start in the fall. And really, it's on really thinking about who are the people that are closest to you. And if you want to grow, like Grant was talking about in your business or in your life, that you really have to look at who you're surrounding yourself with. And are they uplifting you or are they keeping you stuck? And really, when you start to critically analyze the people that are closest to you, you'll start to really see why you are still stuck in that situation that you want to get out of. Because when you start to want to shift and want to change aspects of your life, the people will that are meant to come in and help guide you will show up. And so it's really, really interesting how as you start to shift and you start to grow, that those people that you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this, well, someone will show up that will help you get to the next level. It's like meant to happen, almost like how I've connected with you guys. I live on the other side of the world from you. And it's just absolutely amazing how you can connect with people across the world, even to help you grow. And there's just, if you like, so say, for example, you're an alcoholic. If you continue to hang out with the same people who are alcoholics, you're going to have a really hard time overcoming your alcoholism. It's almost like you have to completely rebuild yourself and shift to attract different people into your life that will help you grow and will help you. So I think there's so many things in our lives that we have to shift in order to really change, and then we'll attract those people that will help us continue to grow. Nose is having trouble. It's really distracting. She's having trouble with her thing. What about you, Grant? What do you think? Does your vibe attract your tribe, and how do you help your clients with that? Because I know with your work that I think that this probably has a lot to do with some of the stuff that you do. You're on mute, Grant.
There you go. Thank you. Great question. And you know, when I saw the subject matter for this week, when we discussed it, my eyes absolutely lit up. Why? Because I was speaking on a conference at 2 a.m. this morning. It was streamed from Australia, and it was on attraction in life, career, and business. So we was talking about that, and actually, myself, we did a book collaboration. I became a best-selling author on this book.
There, guys.
Thank you. So the Lord too was talking all about obviously your brand, who you are, and how you stand out for your clients. So, and the key point is we are magnets. We are magnets. Whatever we're thinking, we're projecting. So if you're thinking negative thoughts now, energetic people can pick up on that. In fact, most human beings, when they're tuning, you can pick up on it. If someone's being positive, you can feel that. If someone's apprehensive, you feel it. Whatever we're thinking, we're projecting. And we say we are what you eat. Yeah, I agree. You are also what you think. You are also what you choose, and there's the key word, choose to read. So, you know, what do you read? Who do you hang around with? It's often said that we are the 5 people that we spend most time with. And it is, I mean, it was said last night, let's use a crude analogy, let's say money, for example, in that sense. If someone wants to be if you want to become a millionaire, start hanging around with multi-millionaires, right? Start seeing what they do, what they think, how they behave. This is something which I spend a lot of time in. When I first studied NLP, and I think I said this previous on the show, when I first started officially training in NLP, we were speaking about modeling, right? Modeling, not standing on stage in front of a camera, but modeling success. And I didn't know it was called that, but that's something that I'd started doing since I was 14 years of age. Modeling, I love aviation. For anyone who doesn't know me, I love aviation. So I started looking at the commonalities in successful pilots. Okay. And when I started reading about their biography, their life, I was like, hey, that's what the other one. And I started seeing these common threads. That was the first humble beginnings of me modeling success. From that, I then I played in a rock band for 5 years. And a long story, it's a whole different life. I was in a rock band. We got signed up to a famous company. We went for all the management riffs that you hear about, everything you read about. It's absolutely true. It's a book that needs to be written one day, but a painful book because it was, in a way, the most hardest time of my life. But we were very young. We had very little life experience, but it was fantastic. What happened? 2 of us were nearly killed in a car accident a week before it was due to record. And that's what kind of wound it up. We toyed with the idea. We toyed with the idea of actually getting another member, but the chemistry just wasn't right. It just felt wrong. And then at a very early age, I was, staggering, as we all were. We struggled with what can we do as a new career. We floundered around for a while looking for new things. And I went into various other things, which led me to where I am today. But at the time, one week we were sharing a studio, not sharing a studio. We was in the same studios rehearsing as people like Boy George and people like that. And when you come out to get a coffee, they would be there, that sort of thing. And the next thing I felt, look, who am I? I was a guy who had been injured. And I still have tinnitus continuously in my right ear as a result. So you carry it with you, but you learn to manage it. The point is, environment is stronger than willpower. So, people say, I need willpower. Yes, you do. But let me give you this example. You saying, go to the Arctic, where it's really, really cold, obviously, and you're standing there in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and you say, my willpower is going to overcome the cold. I'm not cold. I'm not cold. I'm not cold. I'm not cold. Ooh, I'm not cold. I'm not cold. Gee, you will collapse. You will die. The environment will be stronger than your willpower. Willpower will sustain it, maybe long enough until you get rescued. So it's a key thing. I'm not saying don't have willpower, have it, but be realistic. Why are you making it so hard for yourself? Make life easier. I'm talking about the easiest, not easy, but the easiest routes to success in all areas of your life and your business. So one of the best things you can do is be with that supportive environment. So would it not be wiser to dress warmer if you're in the Arctic so that you can make that environment better for you? And if it's too cold, if there's a way to go out and go to sunnier climes, go there. It was once said in one of my favorite films, an iconic film, Midnight Cowboy, where you had Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman playing as two people trying to make their way through the crazy New York lifestyle. Dustin Hoffman was a street urchin who was a hustler. And Jon Voight played a guy from the Midwest somewhere who dressed as a cowboy and thought he was going to go to New York and make it big as a stud, as a male prostitute. And his clothes and his dress was so out of vogue, he didn't realize that he was actually dressing like a gay guy. So he had the vibe all wrong. He was in the wrong environment for what he was trying to do. Dustin Hoffman said at one point, Dustin Hoffman started getting sick in the film, started getting ill as the role he played. And he said, let's go to California. It's cold in New York in winter. Let's go to California. I said, why? He said, they've got coconuts there. So coconuts are the most important thing to sustain life. Now, I don't know if that's a true fact, but you see what he was saying? He was saying this environment is not good for you, the way you're dressing. It's not good for my health. Let's go to California. They was changing the environment to make it more supportive for them. The film had a strange twist at the end, so anyone hasn't seen it, I won't say. It's an old film. It's an iconic film. There's so many iconic clips in it, and I love it. But who is your supportive environment? Quite often happens in the world of coaching that people say, you know what, my husband, my wife, my brothers, my sister, my family, they don't get it. They think I'm weird. You know what, I think when we've all been on this journey of self-discovery, perhaps we have all been the weirdest one in the family at some point. And I can identify with that. And I think, I'm not saying for a moment disown your family, not at all. I'm just saying if the people around you aren't supporting you, then perhaps have a different relationship. Have that family relationship with them. Talk about the common threads where you can get on. If you have some interesting beliefs that rub up against theirs, just don't go there. Have those conversations with other people. One of my dear friends, we argued bitterly years ago, strangely, about things in the industry. And we had a big falling out, strangely enough, a really big falling out. So much so that I was really offended. And I said to him, I don't know how to carry on talking with this guy after all those years, after, you say these sort of things. And what I said was, to save relationships, friends, let's agree just not to go there on those key subjects. Let's just talk about things that we get on well with. And if we start to edge upon it and say, hey, we agree, we're not going to go there, right? And that's the way we've maintained a relationship. And this is what we say to people. You haven't got to cut those people out. You're like, sometimes you do. But if you can keep them, go there, but just use some boundaries, some laws where you're not going to go and talk about. And you can talk about the things you love with your supportive environment. Because that will create energy, time, creativity within you, and will help you flourish and will get you to success much faster. So the key is, you can keep your family, you can keep the naysayers if there's a value to that relationship. Just don't go in those dangerous zones where you can argue or it's going to be non-supportive. But instead, do create that mastermind, that supportive environment of people who support you on your hopes and dreams. They may challenge you. They may challenge you with love, and that's fine. Because that may help you to see some things that you're not seeing about yourself or the way you're showing up in the world. That's an opportunity for you to grow. But as long as they're challenging you in a supportive way, that's the key thing, and that will help you grow. What do you think, Amanda, Nomsa? What's your thoughts on that?
I didn't hear Amanda because I got kicked out. My audio stopped working. I don't know why.
We were talking also about really about, you know, your environment, the people you
Yeah,
should.
I had your talk, but I didn't hear Amanda's talk. So Amanda, forgive me if I don't comment on your talk. Yes, I agree with you, Grant. For me, basically, I have two relationships with my family. I have a relationship with my family where I keep my family as my family.
Mhm.
I don't discuss about business. I talk about my journey when it comes to business and life. But when I'm making decisions, I have business people that I have a meeting with that are, because I know that they can support me, they can be there for me. So I don't like this business of you don't get me, you don't get this. So I know that growing up as a kid, I've always been with my dad and my stepdad. They've always been motivating me and supporting me. But everyone else, their mindset. My mom, she's very, very supportive because she understands the power of letting your children be who they want to be. But I never really discuss my business with my family. I discuss with them if they ask me questions and I motivate them, and that it ends. When it comes to decisions, business, if you really, really want to be serious, you have to choose your tribe. And you can't just choose people like and say and being afraid of leaving people behind, like what Grant was saying. Loving people is like God. God knows his identity. Jesus knows his identity. He knows that there are other gods out there. There's millions, billions, and billions of other gods. So he knows that he has these principles that he's put in place. That if you want to, like, let's say, if you want to be in my kingdom, enter my kingdom, you have to be this character. So you have a choice. He gives you that choice that I'm not going to be the second best. So if you say you are my child, you're gonna come as this, come as you are. You don't have to put on a personality. You don't have to pretend to be something that you're not. Come with your problems. Come with this. So that's his doors open. Then you have other gods that says you wanna enter my kingdom, you have to be a fornicator, you have to be a witch, you have to be this, you have to be this. So we all have choices in life, and the choices that we make, they define who we are as people, but people cannot define us. So I always say to people, if you didn't make me, you cannot define me, who I hang out with. I make that choice based on my values, not because I don't like hanging out with people, or not because I don't like people. I love people. But what I do is if someone wants to hold me back, I don't have time to convince them. I don't have time to wanting them to affirm whether I am good enough or I'm bad. I don't have time for that. I love them and I leave them with good vibes. It's up to them to see what I do and come back to me and say if you don't, they don't have to come to you and say, Nomsa, I want and beg you. If somebody wants to be with you, they want to know what makes you be the person that you are. Show me your secret. Then you show them this is what I do to become who I want to become. So they're not afraid. Even a successful person, when you hang out with people who are successful, they are not afraid to celebrate you. If you win, they are not afraid to celebrate your wins. Like Grant was saying, and I'm sure Amanda, you said this, and Bob Proctor said, the things, our thoughts become things. Whatever we think, it becomes a reality. So if you want to succeed and you want to get that promotion and you want to build your business or you want to go and travel the world or you want to be something in life, you're going to have to sit down and basically evaluate your life. Who do you want to become? And how much do you want this? And why do you want it? And then you become that. And anything else that is standing in your way, for me, basically, my family, they know me. My family call me, like Grandpa was saying, I'm weird. I don't try to fit in. I don't have time to fit in. I've been like that since I was a very, very, very young age. The people that I love hanging out is the elders. I love elders because they love telling stories. They love to, if you want to succeed, you ask them a question. They're not afraid to show you how to do things. So I love that. So over to you, Amanda. I love to hear. Sorry, I missed you.
I like what both of you said about just like reaching out the people who are keeping you down. And oh, we're echoing again.
Wait, I'll
um,
let you mute yourself.
I really like what Grant was saying about how you have to decide who to let in and how to let them in because I think that's really important, is setting clear boundaries around certain peoples and certain situations. And I know I was laughing because I did this like personality type of test thing that my one friend had developed, and it came out as, you don't have time for my mindless socializing. It's what one of the things said about me. And I was like, oh, that's so true. Because like I'll just be like, no, I can't come. I'm busy doing this. And it'll be like, I'm working on my blog, or I'm writing a chapter for my article, or I'm working on my website, or I'm writing a children's book, or I'm illustrating. Like I just, if it's like, oh, come and watch the hockey game. Right now it's the playoffs in Canada and the Flames are in the playoffs. And I'll be like, I'll maybe watch the last period, but I'm not going to sit and watch 3 hours worth of a game because I've got too many other things to do. And it's because I'm like, these are the things that I want to achieve. And so I'm really focused on those goals. And so like, if that socializing isn't helping me get to my goals, then I really have a hard time with it. Even like with dating, I'm like, oh, if I have to go and sit through like a coffee date or something, I'm like, I rather would like be like, do you want to go for a walk? Because then I'm still getting exercise in, so that I'm still achieving one of the things that I want to do. So I don't view it as a waste of time because I'm like, okay, I'm going for a walk because then I'll still get some exercise and it's not like a meaningless interaction for me. And it's really hard for me to like go on a date and not have something purposeful to do because I'm such a purpose driven person. And so I like always will be like, especially if I'm meeting someone for the first time, it'll be like, do you want to go for a walk? Because no matter how like good or bad the connection may be, at least I'm getting some exercise. And I just laugh at myself, but that's how I am. I just really don't have time for connections that aren't going to get me to the next level and to the next thing that I want to achieve. And I've looked at my life throughout my life and who I was friends with at certain times in my life, and then who I spend the most time with now. And the people that I spend the most time with now are people who are entrepreneurs, who are really working towards achieving their goals, who are out there not afraid and are just like so driven to achieve what they want to achieve. And I think that's so important. I really like what Grant said too about, if you want to become a millionaire, start hanging out with multimillionaires. And so and even if you just start surrounding yourself with people who are really growing their businesses and growing. And I also think too, with books, when you start reading books on your mental health, if that's something that you're struggling with, then you'll start attracting people who are on that same path. And I know through yoga, I've attracted a lot of people who are just on that like calmness zen path of really wanting to let go of any of the drama in their life and really wanting to just focus on self and focus on how they can heal themselves. And it's just so like inspiring and uplifting to surround yourself with those people. And as you start to surround yourself with those people, then your friendships shift and change too. And so I always just look at who are the closest 5 people, like Grant had said, to me. And if they're not helping me grow, then I really need to look at how much time I'm spending with those people, because I really want to surround myself with people that are going to continue to help me grow in all areas of my life. It might not just be financial, it might be social, or it might be mindfulness, or it might be a creative aspect of my life. But I really look at what my goals are and who I'm surrounding myself with and what I need to shift, and that will shift who I'm spending my time with. Not that I necessarily cut people out, but I have. There's definitely people that I've been like, this energy is toxic. I can't have that around me anymore. But I definitely think that there are times where you have to set some really clear boundaries, but also times where you just have to be like, I'm just gonna let that slide a little bit to the side because I want to focus on this direction, and that's completely okay. And people have to understand that you're trying to grow. And like Nomza said too, the people who are already doing well will celebrate with you along the way. They won't be jealous, they won't be angry, they won't put you down. They'll be like there and uplift you and cheer you on, no matter what. And I think that's so empowering, because I know, even I have one friend who's a jewelry designer, and she's an international jewelry designer, and my daughter wanted to make some jewelry, and I gave one to a friend for her birthday, and another person who knew that my other friend was a jewelry designer, she's like, doesn't like April get mad that Ella's designing jewelry? And I was like, no. She like encouraged her. She was literally like, yeah, like you should totally do that, and blah blah blah. And like, it's because she doesn't view Ella as competition. She views her as like, I want to uplift her and I want to empower her. Whereas somebody who's stuck in that like mindset of there's not enough is like, oh, isn't she going to get mad at you and jealous? I'm like, no, she seriously told Ella to start doing it, and Ella's like following in her footsteps of doing something and trying to start something that she really enjoys. And Ella goes all over the place with things that she wants to do because she's only 11. But I just found that so interesting, where someone was like worried that a child making jewelry was going to upset a friend of mine that is a jewelry designer. And I was like, no, she completely encouraged her to do that. And that's why I find her so unbelievably empowering, is because she encourages people. Even when I make my own jewelry, she'll be like, you should sell that. And I'm like, no, I've got too many other things to do. Like, I like to make jewelry sometimes just for fun for myself or as a gift for somebody, but like, that's your passion and that's your thing. And I just do it as like a fun little side thing. When I want to make something, it would never be my full-time career. But I just find her so uplifting, because she doesn't view me as competition ever. She uplifts me and helps me grow. And I think that's something that we all need to do as well, is just like celebrate other people's wins. And so often we don't. And that's really, if people aren't celebrating your wins with you, you really need to consider who's in your tribe.
Beautifully said, Amanda. Beautifully said. And I think so many great points in what you said there. And again, those people aren't celebrating your wins with you. You really need to consider who's in your tribe. And that, I think, is so true. It's the bus, isn't it? It's who you choose to let on the bus, as it were. It makes a huge difference in your life. And you see when people actually make those decisions. In fact, part of my coaching, there is actually a whole section on that. And it is about relationships with various people. And it's about, some of those relationships, when you analyze, when you stop to think about it, you look at it and you think, well, hang on, what relationships have I got? Which ones do need to be ended? Some maybe do, for their benefit as well as yours. Because, a relationship has got to be a two-way thing. And if they're not getting enough out of you and you're not getting enough, perhaps, if you can't negotiate around that, if you try, then you've explored all options. Sometimes you think, maybe it's just not a good fit. Nothing more. It doesn't make them wrong. Doesn't make you right. It's just not a good fit. But some relationships you really need to start, you haven't got in the first place. And some you think, you know what? It's a good that's potentially a good relationship there. We just haven't tapped into it enough. We just haven't developed it. We haven't given the relationship the love that it actually deserves to bring out what it's got to offer. And I think that is so true in all areas of life. So it's great that, you cracked me up when you told me about going for a walk. Can we do something? Well, I do the same. I love to walk. That's how I get my exercise. Generally, is walking. I used to listen to certain kinds of music and get creativity. But sometimes if I'm busy, you think, I haven't got that time to walk. You think, Well, you know what? Let's save those phone calls up. Which are, yeah, you know what phone calls you can make while you're on the move and which ones you can't. But you think the ones I can make, let's save those up and at least go out, get the exercise and catch up on those phone calls. So I was really sniggering when you were saying that. I thought it was like you was describing me. I'm really with you on that, Amanda. What about you, Nomsa? Are you where do you stand on going
Now,
out?
up to you guys, go out and get exercise, but you still need to stand still sometimes. You need to enjoy your dates and go out and
Yeah,
party. Sometimes it's nice to have fun. I love to go for walks and I love to do things, but there are times where I just love to go and see my girlfriends where we're not talking about business. I just want to hear what they get up to. Although the business always come up because they're asking me questions, but there are times where, because these people I've known them, I've got friends that they're like my family. I've known them for 20 years, or some of them I met them, we worked together, so they're like my family. And when I go and see them, because they support, when someone supports you, so you want to be around them. So I have my business tribe, and then I've got these people, my friends, that when I go out, there were times where like I just want to be me. I want I don't want to talk about business. I just want to talk about me, and I just want to get to know what they're up to. So I have those attitude where I will go for business. And when I get home, either I don't want to talk about business. I have a separate relationship with personal and business. So I try to have that. So Amanda, I do understand with you when you say basically you don't have time for people that basically just waste time and stuff, but you need to calm down a bit. You're beautiful. Come on. You can't make these men starving the way how beautiful you are. If the man wants to get to know you, give him a chance. Just let him get to know you, even whether to go for coffee, because you're beautiful. Otherwise, somebody will be starving and they'll be like, what have I done? I'm handsome and I'm a good person. I love these girls. So just give the men chances and connect with them. And I like it when the story about Ella making jewelry, because your friend encouraging your daughter to basically to become. I think that is a proper business person. Encourage others to become who they want to become. uh, for me, basically, if someone, there are some people that come here and say, I want to do YouTube, but how can I do it? So I'm like, you can do YouTube, but you can't do YouTube if you are someone who give up very, very easily. So I give them points and say, yeah, you go ahead and do it, but you don't have to be someone that tomorrow today you have a happy attitude and then you're gonna broadcast, and then tomorrow you're having a bad day, you're not broadcast. Sometimes I come online here, I try to get online, sometimes I can't get in, I have to keep trying for half an hour until I get on. So you have bad days. When you have bad days, you still have to keep your motivation. So that's why you need to hang out with people that can help you to become who you want to become, because the good tribe, when challenges comes, when they're presented with the mountains, they don't say I'm not doing this anymore. They want to know how can they be better, how can they basically improve in their part, can they rewrite their story, is there anything they can do. They just want to go on and achieve the results that they want to achieve, even if it means rewriting a business plan, even if it means writing your CV, rewriting your CV and sending it for promotion, different companies for promotion. They're not afraid to do that. So you have to hang out with those people that will help you and build you up. Because if you hang out with people that when you win, they're like, oh, give your attitude. So it means you have to evaluate your life. So your friend is an amazing person, empowering the younger generation to actually become who they want to become. And even Grant, you mentioned that there are some relationship that sometimes you look at your relationship and you're like, this relationship, it needs to end. And sometimes the relationship is necessary. Basically, there are some people that select people And from the beginning, they know, Grant, that this is the wrong person, and they're like, I can't be asked to keep going with dating app. They just date people for the sake of dating, and things get worse. They get depressed, and they know that they need to end, but they don't. So if it's true, I agree with you that it's very, very important. The business tribe that you hang out with, the person that you have a relationship, intimacy relationship with, plays a big part of who you become. The people, the family, they play a big part of who you become. And so I actually agree with you that you have to, as a person, you have to know when to stop, and you have to know how to select the tribe that you want. If you want to, let's say, Ranky, you were saying you want to be a millionaire, hang out with multimillionaires. You hang out with them, share knowledge, and be willing to be someone that is reading books. I was talking to someone at Action Coach Book Club, and they were saying he is finding it hard to basically get business people read books. They tell him they're busy. So if you are a business person, you have to be able to read books. And so you can share your knowledge with everyone else. You don't go to millionaires and say, by the way, I want to be a millionaire. Show me your secret. Yeah, they're like, yeah, sure. We'll show you our secret. But what are you bringing to the table? So that is that. Bring something to the table, and everybody just keep developing and keep learning. And I think that's what you have to do. And also, successful people, they are observers. I'm very quiet. I've joined the choir a year ago. No, last year actually. I've joined Reading Choir last year, and I've been going to the choir, doing my thing, and come back. And few days ago, one of the person, she lost her mom, so she was talking. So I sent the video in the group that I've made in 2019, and I said to her, I hope this video, when you listen to it, is gonna help. So one of the girls, she goes, "Oh, I didn't know you are a speaker, Nomsa." And I was like, "You never ask, so that's why you've never asked what I do." So, and she was like, send me the link for your video. So I sent her the link private, and I put a message in the group that I sent private. And one of them went mad, and he was like, "Why are you sharing the joy private? Please put it inside, put it here so that we can see the link, so we can follow you." So I was like, "Oh, sorry." So I put it there. So what I do, for me, basically, I'm an observer. I observe people. When I go, I don't say, "By the way, this is who I am, this is what I do." I just observe people and listen to what they do. And but the choir is good. We get celebrities coming in, and I basically talk to them and stuff. And one of them, like what I was saying, the guy that I've started working with, and Danny Lay, he's the friend of Danny Lay. So I've never said anything, even when I meet Danny Lay, but I'm hoping that one day I'm gonna get him private without people, and then he say, okay, one day we might work together. But that's the life that you have to be. You have to be someone who is willing to rewrite their own story. Hold the pen. Who is that? Who says that? Is it Lisa Nicholson's? That you have to be the driver in your car seat, in your own car, and be the one that is holding pen. Write your own story. I am. This is who I represent. And this. So you just have to do that. Over to you, Amanda.
We talked about rewriting your life story last week, which I thought it was such an empowering conversation. What I was thinking about while you were talking was how if you want to attract something into your life, you have to just start doing it. So I know so many people that I talk to, because I live by the mountains and I love skiing, and I've met so many people who've been like, "Oh, I really wish I skied more, but I don't know anybody who goes." And I'm like, you have to start going to like attract people who are, then you'll meet people to like start going. Because I can't tell you how many people I've met that have been like, oh yeah, I love to ski and snowboard. I'm like, how many times did you go this year? They're like, none. And I'm like, they're like, well, I don't have anyone to go with. I'm like, well, you have to like start going. You have to like put yourself out there and go with people. And like there's sporting apps and there's different things. Like I love to ski, so I spend like a lot of time at the ski hill. Well, I ski and I snowboard, but like if you want to be one of those people who skis and snowboards every weekend, then you have to start doing it. And so you have to put yourself out there. And it's like they say in The Secret, if you want to be someone who owns a boat and who goes boating, you have to start putting yourself in those situations where you get to do that. And so those are the things, like if you want to attract a person who into your life, like a romantic relationship or friendships or whatever, where they're doing something that you love to do, then you have to put yourself out there and actually do it. You can't just sit in your house and be like, I wish that I knew people who skied every weekend. And even I've struggled with that for when I was in university. I had tons of friends who loved to ski, and then everything kind of shifted and they had children, and my friend group of people who loved to ski really shrank, and I didn't have a lot of people for a while. And then my daughter got bigger, and I still skied with her every weekend. And so it'd just be me and her most of the time. And then now we have this group of friends where all of them have friends or have kids that ski, and we go on like family vacations together where it's all of us and their kids, and we have this amazing, and something that I've always wanted my whole life was to be able to go and stay on the ski hill in the fancy like lodges on the hill and like rent one of those things. And I know nobody in my family would want to do that. I always wanted to have family vacations where you could go and like spend the whole weekend or on the hill and ski from like your chalet. And I finally have met people. Like last year was the first time I was like, I've met my tribe. Like we plan a vacation every year, and we go as like a family, our weird mixed family, or weird modern family of like blended families and divorcees and whatever. And it's so wonderful. And I'm like, yes, like I've met my people, right? I've met my people who will plan a trip, go on a trip. Our focus is our kids. We get our kids out to the ski hill. Like even there, we're still it's May, and we're going to go skiing on Monday, the last day of the year for anything in this area. Because it's just become our lifestyle. But if I didn't continue to do that, even though all of my friends and when I started snowboarding in university, I was like, I want to learn how to do this. So I bought all my stuff. I didn't really know people who skied or snowboarded, and I just was like, I'm going to learn how to do this. I bought a season's pass, and I went, and I started, and then I attracted all of these people into my life who also loved it just as much as I do. So you really have to, if you want to start something, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to surround yourself with entrepreneurs. If you want to like be an artist, you need to start. People are like, oh, I find so many people, because they'll be like, oh, I wish I would do more art, but I never went to art school. I'm like, I never went to art school. And yet you can see in the background a painting that me and my daughter did. I have 3 university degrees. I paint and I draw all of the time. None of them are an arts degree. But I am definitely a creative person, and I create all the time. I draw, I paint, I create jewelry sometimes. I do digital art, and none of it is from my university degrees. And you don't need to go and get a university degree in order to be able to do something. This is like something that I really want people to rethink is if you want to achieve something, sometimes you just need to start doing it. And that those people will come into your life to help you get there. And I think that's something that we really need to trust. Grant, what do you think?
I think that's brilliant. What you said there, Matt. It's just start, just do it. And yeah, we know that famous slogan, just do it. And it's true. It's the environment. You've got to put yourself in the environment. And I said this yesterday at this conference, is that life gets out the way for people to take action. Yes, it will take action, take action. It's not only that, but the point is, there's something out there, whether it's your God, your universe, call it what you will. It's got a radar, I'm sure, and it looks for people who. Yeah, there's an expression that came out once. I used to run these business meetings each week, and we'd have a positive quote, etc. And there was a great quote that actually I didn't bring to it, but one of my colleagues did, and I loved it. And it said, "If your boat hasn't come in, then try swimming out to the boat." And I love that because, like you say, oh, I'm not skiing, but I don't know anybody that does skiing. Right. Well, I have an expression in how do you get to know 100 accountants? Get to know one. Because if you ask that one accountant, hey, do you know any more accountants? Do you think an accountant knows any more? They know loads of them. They go to conferences with them each year. Except if you want to know 100 coaches, ask me. I know 100 coaches. I can make it easy for you, right? It's simple. It's like that. And it's the same for accountants, graphic designers, TV producers. You only need to know one. And if they get to know you, you build that relationship, they will open the doors to 2, 3, 4, 6. Then you'll go to a conference, then you'll meet 20. 20 becomes 40, and that becomes 100. It's simple, but you've got to make the first steps. I don't know anybody. We'll try learning to communicate. And one of my key things, which I taught for 16 years, was professional networking. Not just blah, blah, blah talking, but the art. And it is an art. It's a science and it's an art of professional networking. And this is what I teach with people through communication, is how you can open doors, how you can get yourself invited, how you can become attractive in that sense that people want to do it, want to invite you to places. And it's a skill which I suppose I started learning years ago. I used to be a private investigator many years ago. And you learned a whole bunch of skills last night. In fact, I have a clubhouse which I run each week. I started last night on that, and we was using that communication skills, and also which could be used for espionage, interrogation, interviews, career, relationships, business, sales. A lot of them, and I spend a lot of my time in my life looking at one aspect of life and seeing how there can be skills or models there that can be adapted and mapped over to a different area of life. Okay, so you could use sometimes interrogation skills. A lot of misconceptions with interrogation. It's not like you see in the movie with banging your fist on the desk and all that. A lot of it is really building great communication with people. So movies, of course, love to emphasize things. So if you look at the best confessions, it is done through really great communication. In hostage negotiation, if you can get to the point, and this might sound ironic, but of course there's layers to it. If you can get to the point where you make the person holding the hostages, if you can make them laugh at something, so once you've built rapport, the negotiator builds some sort of rapport, some kind of, because they're the connecting point. If they can make them laugh, you are 30% more likely to end that hostage situation without bloodshed. So, it is about building connections. So you can take that. What if you took that idea, learn how to use that in the world of maybe closing a deal, closing a negotiation? Could you be 30% or thereabouts more likely to close that deal? Could that not be a great way of increasing your closing ratio? So you look at one area, and I spend a lot of my time looking at documentaries of things that seem unrelated, but I sit there and I go, that's a golden nugget. That could be used in the world of coaching. That could be used in that. And this is how I come up with a lot of my models and stuff like this. Maybe it's an excuse just to watch documentaries. I don't know, but that's what I do, and it works. So I think, yeah, absolutely. All these things tie in together beautifully, and the more you look at it, communication with people can open doors. So yes, you can get yourself invited to places, but you've got to make the first step. Certainly go there. As I say, if I wanted to play tennis, go to a sports club. Go to the bar, drink orange juice where other people will be drinking water and orange juice. Look at their match, compliment their match. Don't be false, be genuine. Say, hey, that was really great. How'd you do that? I haven't done it. And Could I ask you a question? And when you're playing, I said, well, if you like that, you should come and watch this other two that are coming up. These two guys, these are really great. And when you see them, you're like, oh, hi, thanks for inviting me. Talk to them, and they'll say this. I say, yeah, we'll go. In fact, why don't you come along to that? And then you go there, and then you get to. This is what I did with aviation years ago. I used to go to airfields, and they had these little flying clubs, right? These little shacks, which some have bars in them and membership. Be honest, you go to some, you think, not my cup of tea. Another one, not my cup of tea. But that's kind of okay. And that person sort of takes you, and they take you under their wing and say, oh, you should meet this person. This is my new friend Grant. And then someone will say, well, we're all hiring a plane, and like it's a 4-seater, but there's 3 seats. We all kind of like chip in with the fuel. Do you want to like come with us? And then they say, hey, Grant, they check you out the first day. It's kind of fun being with you. But, if we're doing it another time, do you want to swap phone numbers and we'll let you know? And then you start getting in the environment. That's my analogy of how I started with that. And of course, now I know my friends who have got their own planes. They've got them and they've got a syndicate. I've got an offer to be in a syndicate. And sometimes we have a barbecue. So, what we do is we have a fun day at the airfield. The friends that I know in aviation are not standoffish. They're very open. They want to share the love and joy of aviation with people. A few times throughout the year, we'll have a barbecue. It's a flying day, bring some food, and I'll go around. Oh, have you met this person? This person's doing a, hey, Grant, can you help with my business with that? I want to talk. There's been people from TV shows there, which are on TV, all about this kind of thing. They were all there. Hey, I recognise you from TV. And one said, I'm going to start a consultancy. Can we talk about that? And in between, the people in the aeroplanes are just taking people up on joyrides all day. It's a lovely, beautiful environment. And that comes from making the first step. Someone said to me, someone was rebuilding a plane years ago in their back garden. And I said, don't be silly. That's ridiculous. It'll be a model plane. They said, well, you can go around and have a look. When I did, it wasn't the whole plane. They was doing it in sections in the shed in the garden. These people do it for celebrities all over the world. And they still do parts in hangars at airfields, but parts they used to take home and do it in their shed. Professional rebuild of sections of the plane. They won awards for it. And I was blown away. Like, this is actually that kind of historic plane around the corner from my house. They're like, yeah. And they said, but now you know where I am. Don't be a stranger. Well, that was 30 years ago. That was 30 years ago. I was very, very young then. And I was like, wow. And that was it. And we've been friends ever since and been flying and done stuff. And I've actually been asked to be acting small parts in a flying movie years ago. If you remember. So if you remember Band of Brothers, if you remember that, Band of Brothers, I was asked to play a small part in that. I was so busy with my job and career at the time, I couldn't do it. But I did parts and I painted some of the planes for the event and got in a conversation with Steven Spielberg's art director and taught him an historic fact that he never knew. So that was one of my claims to fame then. And that all come from just reaching out. Someone I heard, I wanted to speak to people in aviation. Someone said someone's rebuilding something in a shed. And I went and knocked on the door. I said, I heard you're rebuilding a plane in your shed. I think someone mentioned my name. Is that true? Could I come in and have a look? That was the humble beginnings, and that's where it can lead to. But yes, Amanda, absolutely. Great things can happen. Life gets out the way and stops creating barriers and makes a path for people who make the first step. So like your art, if you haven't got a degree in art, okay, just start reading, just start talking to people, just get those brushes and pencils out and just start, and you'll be surprised what happens.
I want to make one tiny comment before you go, Nomza, about the hostage situation and making people laugh. And it just like brought me to dealing with my daughter. And when she's angry and mad, and like if I can get her to laugh, it like completely shifts the situation. And so I was just laughing because I was like, oh, I feel like I'm in a hostage situation sometimes. But if I know when I can make her laugh, then 90% of the time it will completely shift her mood. And then things will flow smoother. And that just like brought me right back to like, oh, you can do this with your kids too.
power of laughter is a beautiful tool, and it's an opportunity, of course, to leave people better conditioned than you found them. So if you can lift a situation, it's such a great thing. Yeah, actually, a lot of people do behavior profiling. I speak to them when I'm in groups with them and students. I posted something they did yesterday, and someone said, "Do you use that in like complicated negotiations and this?" And he gave an example. He said, "Yeah, I use it for that. I use it in communication. I use it in sales, and I use it with my daughter too." It's true. So these is a great example that these skills can be used in all areas of your life, career, and business. What about you, Nomsa? What do you think?
My daughter goes, when I try to use psychology, she goes, "Mommy, don't use psychology on me." She goes, "Do not use psychology on me. If I'm upset, I'm upset. Let me be upset." So, but it is nice that what Grant is saying, that you have to learn the power of building connection. It is good building connection. Like when I was talking to Gavin, he goes, "Okay, I watched your talk shows. Who taught you to speak?" And I was like, "It's my granddad." And I was like, "I know there's some people along the way that were helping me, but from the beginning, it was my granddad. We used to hang out. He used to teach me music and things like that." And it was like, "Okay, why are you not singing like what Amanda?" So I was like, "I'm singing. I'm in the choir. What do you mean I'm not singing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I stopped singing on my own and now I'm in the choir." And I was like, "Oh, so we need to look into that." And I was like, "Hang on a minute. We need to look at one step at a time." So I was like, "No, we need to look into music. We need to look into this and we need to look into this." And I was like, "Okay, if you say so, but I am singing. I am doing music. I've not stopped. So as long we understand." And it was like, "No, we need to find your identity, what you are, and then we focus on that." So I think you have to basically learn how to connect with people. And when you connect with people, everything else, the energy, basically everything is energy. When you have a good energy and you have this good vibe, loving, unconditional, and be there for people, people will be willing to introduce you to people. And when they introduce you to people, and this person, like Grant was saying, if they like you, and then they'll introduce you to somebody else, we become who we become. The people that we surrounded with, we are the ones that the energy that has to bring them to us, basically. So it is very, very important to basically to evaluate and observe our lives, and not to say, "I can't do this, I can't be this." You can be who you want to be as long as you are willing to do the work, and you are actually willing um, to tolerate the process of life. Life comes with problems. Life comes with joy. Life comes with a hard work where you're gonna have to connect with people. You're gonna have to get to know people. Your surroundings, your environment is very, very important. And also, when problems comes along, you have to understand that problems come along, they're just problems. We were legacy wealth talk before, and my friends decided that we needed to go separate ways. Like, I basically got ready to go live, and my friend were like, "Actually, I want you guys out." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, 3 of you out." And I was like, "Okay." And everyone went out, and I was like, "Okay, we have to be out, but you decided that we need to be out. So that means the talk show has to continue. And you don't want to be in the talk show, then we need to discuss this." So I didn't have, because I knew the journey that I wanted to go. And I didn't sit around and started. People basically on Facebook, or my followers, they didn't basically realize what was going on. The following day, because I have Des Mudokona is a good guy, so I was like sending the branding. The following day, the branding was changed. All my social media, it was a different story. When I made the announcement that the name of the talk show is changing, everything had been changed. So that was part of life. And I didn't blame my friend that she wanted us out. So I didn't blame her. All I did was, you know what, from the beginning, I knew that basically I wanted to create a talk show, but I approached them that if you wanted to join me, you can. But I knew the journey where I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. But at the same time, there is the mountain that was presented. Amanda, you basically, when I got you guys, I got these guys, Amanda and everyone else, about I think 30 speakers came the 2 days after. Everyone was coming in, because people, the audience loved the talk, and I didn't know what to do. So I was like, it's going to continue. But there was sadness within me, and I didn't show it to people. I had to deal with the therapy. I had to deal with God and say, God, help me with this sadness. So the party has to continue. You still have to connect with tribe. And when you connect with business, people let you down. It's fine. People are gonna let you down wherever you go, whether it's no business or anyway. You just have to get up. Any words of encouragement, Amanda, before we leave?
Well, I really love that part about laughter. I think that when you laugh, you send out a different vibe. And I know sometimes I take life too seriously. And so that laughter vibe, I think, is so important. But also, if you want to change something in your life, you really have to look at who it is that is in your life. And if you don't like the how they're making you feel and they're not helping you grow, then you need to shift something in your life. And it means get out of your comfort zone and put yourself in a situation where you have more chances to grow. And those people will come into your life that are going to help you grow beyond your wildest dreams.
Love that. Love.
I love that, Amanda. Grant?
I love that. And can I share like one quick story? I've got time for one quick story. Yeah, really quick. It's just going back to the earlier point about showing up for success, showing up in the right environment. I started off modeling successful pilots. Then I went on to the field of music, what was going on with music, and I started looking at that into musicians. And what I looked at, I mean, various documentaries I saw. One, I mean, he's been in the press more recently for other things, but let's put that to one side and go back to the origins. Gary Glitter, how he became successful. Now, looking back in the time, he was a big star in the UK. You may or may not like the music. It was glam rock. So, yeah, that's got kind of a certain thing. It was like glitzy at the time. But he was a big celebrity. And how that started out was there was a TV program, one of the first TV programs for teenagers called Ready, Steady, Go, RSG, which was Friday night, and I believe it was 7 o'clock. It was in the 60s, right? Back in the history of the swinging 60s. And they used to say, it's Friday night, 7 p.m. or something, and the weekend starts here. That would be done, I think, in the Strand in the UK, not very far from Trafalgar Square, right? It would be filmed there, apparently. Well, they had various cool kids in the audience because they wanted cool kids, and they'd film them. He dressed really smart. He was always in the queue. He was there queuing up early every week. And eventually they had selected some people to be in. They went in and they said, when we put the cameras on you guys, we want you to dance like crazy. So he danced like crazy. Then the next week they say, oh, hang on, we need those boxes moved from over there. Any volunteers? He goes, yeah, me. We need to move the boxes. And they say, oh, we need someone to go over, that drummer needs a bottle of Coke from the bar. I get it. And he'd go and do it. And then they'd do this, and they said, now what we want some kids when the band finishes to jump on stage and like mob them. I said, I'll do it. I said, that guy again, it's him. He keeps showing up, that one, doing this. And then like some more dancers. And then they said, what we want 3 of you to hug each other and start singing to the song. Like, I'm in. Him again. And then one day they say, oh, what do you do? I say, oh, I play a little bit of drums in a band. All right. Da, 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 da. One day they was there and a drummer didn't turn up for the band. I said, God, we need a drummer. He said, I can play drums. I told you. Oh, yeah, you did. Right, we've got 7 minutes. You're on. and he played the drums and done. And I said after, that was great. And the drummer left the band, and the band said, thanks for standing in. We don't have a drummer. Will I be our drummer? He said, yeah, I'm in. And that's how it started. They cut a record, and the producer saw him and said, do you sing? He said, yeah. He said, I think I could do something with you on your own. And that's how it began. Was he the most talented? I'm going to let you answer that. All right. Okay. Was he the most talented? Did he go to music school? Was he the most talented? Did he have a 10 out of 10 for dedication and showing up and putting himself in the environment? I think he did. So you can do it. And Mark Bolan, they said alone. Now, this is an interesting point because you can find people come into your life at the right time. I love Mark Bolan. I love his music. And when you interviewed his brother, they said, oh, did he come from a musical family? Said, no, not at all. Like my dad was a bus driver, something like that. I'm ad-libbing here. It may have been a bus driver, his mother's like a cleaner or something. And his brother was a bus driver. That was his brother was a bus driver. His dad had a regular job. Said, well, where did he come from? No, he was just different. He just I said, I've never met anyone in my life who wanted stardom. He wanted fame more than him. We used to say, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be famous. That was his thing. He went to school with Helen Shapiro, who was older than him. And they said, oh, he was younger, but he was cool. He wanted to be an out band. He didn't really fit, but everybody loved Mark. He was such a cool guy. He was a male model. He was a teenage model. Super cool kid. I said, but he had a guitar, which was really cool in those days. And he did it. Now, at the time, he kind of went on, and I think he was just like another kind of folk singer. Wasn't really getting into it. Done a little bit, wasn't really great. But then he met some lady, an artist, I believe in Germany, and he had an affair with her, and he moved in with her for 6 months, and she was connected. She understood Mark. He was on the outside, didn't really get it, I don't think. He wanted it, but didn't understand it. She understood it, and in a way, she mentored him. She was his lover, but also she mentored him. He changed, he blossomed, he bloomed. When he came back, that passion with that mentorship, he took off. And that's my point. But what did he do? He took the first step. He put himself in the environment with people who supported him, recognized and nurtured his talent. And people still play his music many, many years after. That was my story. I wanted to share it, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Grant and Amanda. We are here at Ngozi Talk Shows, Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. Please, if you want to connect with our coaches, please do. And write your own story. People do not define who you are. Your past does not define your future. Your future is written for you. You are the only person that can actually write that story. Connect with the people that you feel that they will help you, and use your beliefs to get to where you need to go. And God bless. Live with grace, everyone. And we will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. UK time. Bye, everyone.